this is Bear with Kyser Musical Products, and today I'm very excited to show you a no-nonsense approach to restringing your guitar. It does not involve knots, it does not involve locking tuners or anything of the sort. Just good old-fashioned tools and a proper technique. So here we go. The first thing we're gonna do, this does actually not need to be capoed at the 9th fret like every other video we've done so far. We just need to loosen these strings. So 8 half turns. All right, done. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our side cutters and we're gonna go ahead and cut these strings at the 12th fret, which is close to the halfway point of the guitar. And I'll show you the reason we're gonna do that in a second. If you guys didn't like your strings popping back like that, you could indeed take a capo and put it right here and keep them from flopping back. So now that we've gotten to this point, we're gonna go ahead and remove the pins from the bridge. Like I've shown you in previous videos, I use a side cutter. You could also use a string winder. If you're gonna use the side cutter, remember to put that finger between them. We don't wanna snap the top off. We just wanna be able to provide a fulcrum. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave those there for just a second. We're gonna start with the unwound ends and we're gonna go ahead and, or outwound ends, sorry. And we're gonna pull these off. Notice how easy it is for me to take these off because I haven't done any, like I said, fancy knots or techniques like that. It's just using the guitar the way it was meant to be used. So now I'm gonna pull all 6 of those out just like that. And to keep everybody from hating you, when we throw these in the trash, we can just take them and we can tie them in a knot just like that. And now we've got all those dead ends right there. So we're gonna put those in the trash. Now, this is a good opportunity for you to give your guitar a little bit of a bath, okay? We don't mean go throw it in the shower. We just need to clean some dust. The first thing I like to do is take a good soft bristled paintbrush and go ahead and just get all those little crevices there. We're gonna get on top of here, everywhere that dirt likes to hide, on top of your bridge, depending on how you set that guitar, that's what's gonna matter, okay? So we've done that. Now, this is another crucial point where we want to go ahead and service these keys while we're here, okay? So these are sealed keys. We're going to go ahead and use our #1 screwdriver and make sure that none of these keys are actually sloppy. These feel pretty good, so I don't need to mess with them. If you did need to adjust it, you would want to firmly hold the button, place the screwdriver in there, and turn just a tiny bit. I'm talking not even a 1/16 of a turn will change these drastically. So do what feels good to you guys on that one. Now, like I said, we have sealed keys. So we have some nuts up here that we need to tighten. Well, if you happen to have some sort of multi-spanner, then you can use that tool and go through here. And these did need to be tightened. So we can do that. If you didn't have a multi-spanner, you can use a crescent wrench. I bet your dad's probably got one laying around. So we're gonna go ahead and get these snugged up. We don't need it to bust through the top of the guitar. We just need to get them slightly tight, okay? So a lot of people hear rattles in their guitars, and a lot of times it's the tuning keys that are doing that, guys. So we're gonna get that squared away. Let's not forget that on some guitars, we're gonna have screws back here. We're gonna need to tighten those as well, okay? So we're doing good. The next thing we need to do is let's address this fretboard. If you have rosewood, if you have ebony, this fretboard needs to be moisturized. And the best way to do that is gonna be with some Lem-Oil from Kyser. But before we do that Lem-Oil, we wanna go ahead and polish the body, and I'll tell you why. If we go ahead, we've got it cleaned of all the dust now, we're just gonna put a little polish on here. Be careful how much you use, it's a satin guitar. You don't want to get too aggressive because then you'll turn it into a gloss guitar. But if we put this polish on now, then when we go to put this Lem-Oil on in a second, it's going to make it a lot easier to remove the excess Lem-Oil from the body. It's inevitable. You're going to get a little bit of it on there, okay? So we're going to polish this baby up. Just like that, looking good. Get that pick guard. Okay, we've got the guitar polished. Now we're ready to address this fretboard. Before we oil it, I like to take a little 4/0 steel wool. That basically means 4 zeros. You can get this at your hardware store. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna bundle it up and I'm gonna work my way down the fretboard, okay? Be consistent with the amount of strokes you hit on these frets. No, it's not going to take a lot off your frets, but you just want to be careful and you don't want to make it uneven. So here we go. I'm going to keep it off my carpet. 6 counts if anybody's counting. Be careful once we get over the extension. We don't want to scratch the guitar. Okay, we're going to take our paintbrush and get all those filings off of here. Just like that. Now, if you happen to have a sound hole pickup, or if this were an electric guitar, we'd want to put some tape or some cloth over the magnetic pieces because this is steel and it is attracted to magnets. So we don't want that junk all over our pickups. So we've made it to this point. I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to grab this lemon oil and I'm going to give myself a few squirts here right on the edge. 6 pulls there. And now I'm going to do one broad stroke across the guitar to get it spread out, and then I can work my way back and forth, okay? That was a new bottle, so I'm going to put a little bit more on here. There we go. Okay. There are 2 schools of thought when it comes to lemon oil. Some people like to leave it on to soak. I am not that type of guy. I want to get the fretboard nice and moisturized. I want to see that every fret has been affected. And then I'm going to fold this back over on a clean side, and I'm just going to take that excess off just real fast. Look at how beautiful that fretboard looks now. It's incredible. So we're almost ready for fresh strings. We've already addressed our tuning keys. They're nice and tight. If this were an electric guitar, this is the time that we would spend in our shop to tighten your pots, tighten your jack, tighten anything that's loose, because now it's easy to access. Once we get these strings on, we lose a little access. So the next thing I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and position my strings, or my tuning keys, sorry. And I'm going to show you with this, the slant that I like to have. I want to have a back slant on my keys. So if I were to put this in the hole of the key, you can see that it's at a 45 to the neck, okay? And I'm going to show you why in a minute. So I'm going to set all these right where I want them. If you really want to get nerdy, I like to leave the buttons north and south so that they're not in the way of the next string when I go to wind it. There we go. So now, if I were to review this again, these strings over here are going to slant out. And these strings on the bass side are going to slant this way, okay? And now we're going to show why that needs to happen. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Kyser acoustic strings here. Just a little side note, if you ever want to know the difference between phosphor bronze and 80-20, a phosphor bronze is a 92% versus 8% blend of bronze and tin. So it's going to have a warmer sound because we have more bronze in the string. And 80-20 is 20% tin, so it's going to sound a little brighter. Not necessarily a bad thing. If you're somebody that plugs in a lot, or you happen to be into the worship scene and you like a brighter sound, then you would want to use that 80-20. I like a good warm sound, so we're going to use the 92-8 or phosphor bronze. I'm going to take 4 inches roughly of this string, and I'm going to put it in the hole. This is one that everybody messes up, guys. I'm going to take the pin with the slot forward. I'm going to push that in, and I'm going to give a solid yank. Now I have set that pin. It's not pulling out of there. I don't need tension on the string to do that. We're good to go. I like to go ahead and install all of my strings. So let me get these sorted out size-wise. Four inches in the hole, slot facing forward, pull. It's good. Now that we've got our strings in the bridge, we're going to go ahead and get started on the headstock end. So I'm going to take this low E, I'm going to bring it forward, and I'm going to go 1 tuner past the one that I want to string, okay? So we're stringing our E, I'm going to go to the A, and I'm going to put a nice sharp bend right there, okay? If this is not a good solid bend, it's not going to work. So once we have that, we've got our tuner back slotted, so we can put this right in there. And because we've back slanted those tuners and I have that bend, I now have all the control I need over this string, okay? So what we're gonna do, pretty simple little process. We're gonna take our winder. I'm gonna refer to this as the dead end, and this will be the bent end. So we're gonna go over the dead end. As the bent end comes around, we're gonna go underneath. We'll bring this up so it's not hitting our hands and we get headstock. And we're gonna continue to stack our winds downward. And because of that hourglass shape of the tuning key, they're gonna pull in to the end. And now we've got a perfectly wound string that will hold tension great. And we can stretch this string. We can cut the dead end. And do that 5 more times and you've got yourself a restring. Here's another pro tip for you guys. We've been talking a lot about restringing, but we have not addressed what you do if you have 6 tuners in a line on the side of your guitar versus the 3 on the side, okay? So this guitar, being a vintage guitar, has what we call the safety post tuner, but it's the same concept. So I'm still gonna go ahead and get that same back slant that I would have gotten on the previous 3 on the side guitar. This is actually an even better visual representation because we have the open line on the top. So you can see what I'm talking about here. Now, if this were a non-safety post 6 in line key, then all we do is go up 2 posts instead of 1. So I'm gonna come through the guitar here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we want to string the E, we're gonna go to the A, to the D, and we're gonna put our bend, okay? If this were a non-safety post, we would do the same exact thing we did before. We'd put it through there, over the dead end, under the bent end, and stack down. Because this is a safety post tuner, we go 2 up, just like that. It's my favorite tuner, by the way, because there's no loose ends to poke you. And instead of bending at the second tuner above, we cut it. Then we put this inside the safety post, insert all the way down, and bend. And now, looky there, we're back in business, boys and girls.